Hi everyone, thank you for joining my webinar. Today I'm going to talk about transitioning into product management from software development or data analytics roles. The agenda of this webinar is first I'm going to give a little bit of my introduction, then I'll move to my career journey, and after that we will go to the deciding factors where we'll talk about what is product management, what is the similarity between these technical roles and product management roles, what are the new skills needed to be a PM, and then finally, what is the PM responsibilities. Hopefully, after that, we'll know we can decide whether we want to be a PM or not. Once we made the decision, then we'll move into the next section where transitioning into the product management. In that section, I'll talk about what is the PM interview process, and then we'll talk about a little bit of top 3 questions that are asked in the PM interview process. For example, how to tackle behavioral questions, how to prioritize features, how to design a product, and then I'll conclude my webinar with the key takeaways. Now, let's talk about me. So, I'm Pranjal Tripathi, Senior Product Manager for Salesforce. I am delivering a lot of awesome products to customers and impacting their life, reducing their pain point. I'm really excited to be a PM for Salesforce. Now, moving on to my career journey, I started my career in 2008, where I did Bachelor's of Technology in Computer Science and Engineering from Madan Mohan Malviya Engineering College back in India. After that, I joined Tata Consultancy Services as a data analyst. It was a mix of both data analyst and software development role. I worked there for around 4 years. Then I moved to US, did my master's from Carnegie Mellon University in Information Systems Management. And then I joined ServiceLink, which is a sister company of Fidelity National Financial, as a strategy and operations research analyst. I did a lot of data analytics, machine learning in the role, and then slowly moved into the product management because I thought I made the decision that I want to be a PM. And after that, in 2022, I joined Salesforce as a senior product manager. So this is about my journey. Now let's tackle the bigger question. Should I become a product manager or not? This is the question that keeps that we all have whenever we are in the technical positions, that do I want to become a product manager or not? To do that, first we'll go to the basics. We'll talk about what is product management. So product management is nothing, it's basically an intersection between the design, technology team, users, customers, and the business, where a product manager strategically drives the vision of a product, try to develop it, and support it, maintain it. Now we know what is product management. Let's talk about a little bit what is the similarities between these technical roles, data analyst, software engineering, and the product manager roles. So first, what we can talk is time management and deadlines. So we in all these 3 roles, all these different technical roles, either data analyst, software engineer, or a product manager, you have to manage the time. You have to work under deadline. Whenever you're given a task, you have to work under that deadline. So we all know how to manage the time. Now, the team conflict, it's basically different ideas we all have in our team, different conflicting ideas. One person try to handle the situation in one way, the other person has a different idea to handle that situation. We always have different ideas and different conflicts, and we discuss that conflict, and after discussing with the entire team, we find out what is the best solution and best approach to go. So this is basically a team conflict, and we all have seen team conflicts in our daily routine. So that's not a new concept for PM. Now meetings, we all do all the meetings. Either data analyst, software engineer, they have to understand their tasks. They do the meeting with the business, with the stakeholders to understand what is their task, what is the data, how they can use the data to work on their task, what is the user stories, what are the features. So we know in mostly all of the day in this COVID scenario, we work on the meetings. Now, the people skill, this is also very necessary for all the roles. We talk to our team members all the time. Critical thinking, problem solving, all these things are really very similar uh, skills that is needed for both technical roles and the product manager management roles. Now let's talk about what are the new skills needed to be a PM. So first and very important skill is business skills. The customer, a PM need to think from the customer perspective. He always need to think about what are the customer pain point, what is the customer journey, how we can improve the customer journey and reduce their pain point. Now, strategy thinking is also a very good skills that is needed for a PM. For example, PM has to make the strategy for the product. Think about what is the roadmap and what is the vision of the product. Prioritization skills, we as a PM always have to prioritize different skills. We have like a lot of features, improvement ideas where we want to improve our product. So we also need to think which one is good, which one is bad, which one we need to tackle first. We always keep on going on this prioritization cycle of different feature and putting these into our roadmaps. Now, negotiation is also a very good skills for a PM. So sometimes PM has to discuss a lot of different ideas and a lot of different presentations with the stakeholders, and then they really need their negotiation skill to finalize on their particular idea or improvement of their product, or if it is a new product pitch. Ownership, now this is also a new skill because the ownership changes a little bit from the technical roles to a product management role. From the technical role, the ownership is basically you have to deliver a particular task, you have to deliver a particular functionality, feature, code that feature. Now, as a PM, the ownership changes to basically you are the owner of the entire product. Sometimes people say PM is a CEO of a product. So you are the owner of that product. So anything happens to the product from the scratch, from the building it to the delivering it to the customer, everything you are responsible for that particular product. So ownership changes a lot. Now, marketing skill, you also need to learn marketing skill, and this is mainly for the PMMs, basically product marketing managers. So yeah, these are the new skills that are needed to be a PM. Now, let's talk about the product manager responsibilities. Number one, creation of the idea. If it is a new product, you have to think about what the product is, what the market looks like, if the customer will love your product or not. And if it is a feature, if that feature is good or not. Number two, development of strategy. As we talked about the strategy thinking, development of strategy, a product manager need to think about the longer term of a product, like what is the roadmap of a product, what the product is going to be after 2 years. So creation of all the strategy regarding to the product is the responsibility of a product manager. Analysis of profit and loss. Yeah, the product manager has to think about what are the KPIs and metrics of your product, if your product or feature performing well or not, and always analyzing the data, telemetry of the product. Communication and collaboration is a very good responsibility because if there is any change in the deadline, any change in the feature, you have to always communicate these deadline changes, these feature changes to all of the stakeholders. And that's a very important responsibility of a product manager. Documentation, as a PM, you have to write a lot of user stories, write the features, descriptions, and the PRDs, product requirement documents. So yeah, all these 5 are the important responsibility of product manager. And hopefully after understanding all this responsibility, you can think of making a decision or not. If you are in a technical roles, you can think of whether making this decision to be a PM or not. And finally, let's say you made a decision that you want to be a PM. Now, what should be your next steps? How do you want to break into the product management? First, I'll give you the high-level idea of PM interview process. It's basically started from the recruiter call where uh, 30 to 45-minute telephonic conversation between the recruiter where the recruiter want to learn about your background, about yourself, and do you have all the skills needed for this open position or not. So you always have to check the job application and understand what are the skills needed to join that particular position. If and what happens in the back end is once the recruiter call is done, recruiter take all the information and go back to the hiring manager and explain them your profile. And if hiring manager is interested, then we have the second round of hiring manager interview. That mostly is a video call for 45 minutes, and then hiring manager try to understand and take a deep dive into your experience and understand if you have all those skills needed to join that role or not. And after that, once hiring manager thinks that you're good and you're fit for the role, then you move to the next round. And now there are a lot of different companies has different interview process. Some company have this next round as a take-home assignment where you have to go over all these questions and provide the answers. Some has this presentation round where you have to prepare a slide deck, and then final round is a virtual on-site interview with a couple of people and explain that presentation and present that slide. This is a generic process, but there are a lot of companies that that handles different type of questions in product management interviews. For example, product design and product strategy, product estimation, product execution. So there are a lot of different ways, but this is the generic way. I'm only talking about the generic process. We will also once you start doing all these interviews, you'll learn about like different type of questions and then practice on it. So there's always a lot of different variation of questions that are being asked in PM interview process. Now, let's talk about how to tackle behavioral questions. So I have seen a lot of interview process has this behavioral questions around, like hiring manager keep on asking like, what happens when you miss a deadline? Tell me about a time when you showed leadership in your team, or how do you handle team conflicts? Like these kind of questions are behavioral questions where you have to the best approach. There are a lot of different framework to handle that behavioral question, but the best one that I could find is in STAR approach, where STAR, S stands for situation, T for task, A for action, and R for result. So what you have to explain is the situation. What was the situation? What was the problem? And then task. What were your tasks and what were you supposed to do? Then action. What was you actually did because of the situation? What you actually did to solve or resolve that situation. And then R stands for result. So what was the result? Did that problem solve or not? And then what did you learn in the result? You can always talk about what did you learn from that entire situation. What should you can proactively do so that bad situation will not happen? So that's a basically good approach to handle behavioral questions. Now let's talk about this important question that I've also seen a lot of time in PM interview processes. How do you prioritize features? There are a lot of different frameworks in market to prioritize feature. The RISE framework, value versus complexity quadrant, Kano model, ICE scoring model, weighted scoring, prioritization, Moscow method, opportunity scoring. But what I generally use is the RISE framework because that it's look like very simplest for me. But you cannot use this RISE framework in every scenario. There are scenarios where you have to move into the different frameworks. So you may need to learn a couple of different frameworks of prioritizing features. Let's go. Uh, let's just understand what is the RISE framework. So RISE stands for Reach, Impact, Confidence, Effort. Now, reach is basically how many customers we are reaching with this feature. For example, we have like 5 features. We want to prioritize it and see which feature we have to tackle first and develop first. So now we can see the reach. If the first feature is reaching for like 10 customers, second feature is reaching for 50 customers, third features are reaching to the 100 customers, we can also think so also take the reach as a feature reaching to how many customers. So we'll take that customers number, how many, what is the reach to the customers, and then multiply it by the impact. What is the impact of that particular feature? What is the impact of PM things? Like for example, if you think it has a high impact, you can give a high score. You can make a score from 0 to 5, and give each and all the feature a different score. If this feature you think it's a highly impactful feature, give it a 5 score. If it is low impact, give it 1 or 2. Now the confidence, how much confidence do you have in that particular feature? For example, if that feature is already been delivered in different org or different team, you can just use that particular framework or code and to make that feature available in your team. That is 100% confident because you know it's working good in a different team. You are just taking and reusing that feature. Now, if it is a very new feature, out of the box thinking AI, machine learning kind of feature where you are not even sure about if will it work or not, then give it like 20% of confidence score. And then divided by effort, like how much time it will take for one developer to build it. Use that, multiply all 3 things, reach, impact, confidence, divided by effort, you'll get a score. And if you get the score for all these 5 features, you'll know which one is the highest score. You can prioritize it as number 1 and then to start developing that feature. So you can always have this. This is the easiest prioritization model, but there is a way like you cannot use it for all of the times. For example, if you have 50 different features to work on, you cannot. It will take a lot of time for you to calculate the RISE score. So then you have to think about a different framework. You cannot use RISE framework because it will take a lot of time to calculate the score for all of the 50 features. So that's about like how do you prioritize feature. Now let's talk about how to design a product. And this is like lot of company ask these kind of question, and it also called product sense question. Basically, you have to think on the go and think how you will design a product from the scratch in a particular interview. It's these kind of questions are not those questions where you come prepared. You can prepare, you can practice, but at the time of the interview, you'll always get a new question. So the best framework generally people use is the circle method, where C stands for comprehend the situation. So first, if a question asks, like for example, if the question is design a refrigerator, design a futuristic automated refrigerator. So now you have to do is comprehend the situation, ask, do some cross questioning, ask like some doubts, like what are you talking about? Are you talking about only the refrigerator that handles like groceries, and we are not trying to add like a entire different kitchen functionalities into that. Like all of these situations where you want to understand what is going on with the question, what is the question, you can always ask. Now, the other thing is, once you understand the question, identify the customer. So you need to understand what are the customer segment. Is it for the normal people who are living their life in the homes and want to buy a refrigerator, or is this refrigerator is going to use for commercial purpose, for like Walmart and all those places where like there's a lot of groceries they have to deliver. So that kind of customer segmentation you can do in the identification of customer. After that, you can go to report customer needs. Now here you will think about what are the pain points of the customers, what is the difficulty they are facing right now, and your product can resolve it. So list all of the functionalities, and in this question you can always take like a couple of seconds, or you can say like, oh, give me a moment and take a minute to think about every step before answering, because that shows that uh, you are strategically thinking the situation, not like answering anything that comes to your mind. You have a format, you have a thinking process. So yeah, take your time, take a moment, and then report all the customers pain point, and then move to the cut through prioritization, where you'll say these are the 5 different pain points. Now I will only focus on one pain point to resolve, because that is how I can prioritize my process of designing a product. And then once you take that one prioritization, like prioritized pain point, then you can take one more moment to think about the solutions and list all the solutions. So for example, this problem, you have like these 5 solutions that you can think of right away that can solve the pain point, that the prioritized pain point. And after that, you can evaluate the trade-off. Like this particular solution has this problem. This particular solution has a lot of effort, needs a lot of effort to be delivered. This is a really good solution, but it has very low impact. So all those things, once you prioritize and trade off, and then finalize that what is the final solution you want to build to design a futuristic refrigerator, to design that particular product. And then the last and very important point is you have to finally summarize the recommendation, and then maybe go through all of the things, like summarize it. We thought about this, we did this customer segmentation, then we finalized the pain point, we list all the solutions, we prioritize it, and finally we find out this is the final solution. So that is the one way of going this how to design a product. But there are a lot of different framework and process you can go, but you don't have to just follow the particular framework or the circle method. You need to also come up with your own method, but that should be a proper method of designing a product. Like, how do you want to design a product? Now let's talk about finally what are the key takeaways. So now we know that we have decided to be a PM. We were working on a technical roles like software engineering and data analytics roles. Now we decided to be a PM. We understood what is the PM interview process. What are the top 3 questions asked in the PM interview process? Now let's talk about the key takeaways that you can take away from this webinar, as basically be confident on all your interview process. Whenever you're answering confidently, it will impact your interview process, definitely. Then focus on customer. Whenever we come from a technical background, we always try to work on our technical job. We know we need to learn all of the specific of the product. We need to know what is the framework, everything. But as a PM, this thing is a little bit new, that you always have to focus on the customer. What customer is thinking? What is the customer journey? what are the customer pain points? How can I resolve the customer pain points? So if you start thinking about the customer perspective, you're already kind of started being a PM. Now, the third and main takeaway is be patient. I know the interview process right now is very competitive, and there's a lot of time you think you can get the job, but the job market is always tough. So be patient, don't worry about it, keep on interviewing, and I hope you'll definitely be a PM. Now, if you have any questions, any doubts regarding any of my content in this webinar, you can always contact me in LinkedIn. Uh, this is my link, www.linkedin.com/in/Tripathi. These are my references, and best of luck for your future. Don't hesitate to reach out to me if you have any questions. Thank you. Thank you guys for joining this webinar. Thank you. Take care.